When marketing your business, that first blog, post, episode or video is the hardest one you're ever going to make. Getting started always takes more effort. It feels like everything is stacked against you. That first piece of content often has the biggest learning curve and can take the longest to finish. And then to top it off, it's likely to get hardly any engagement. So why bother? This marketing thing's starting to sound like a lot of work. Well, don't worry, because the next thing you make will feel even more straightforward, and it only gets easier from there. My name is Simon Batchelor, and in this video I want to inspire you to push through that resistance and go from 0 to 1. One and done is not effective marketing. I frequently hear people say things like, well, I tried writing a blog and that didn't work. Or, well, I did send an email newsletter but nothing happened. And I completely get how frustrating that can be. You put a lot of effort into learning something new and creating something for the first time. It can then be disheartening to see it make a very small ripple in a very big pond. There is an expectation that all you have to do is create some marketing content and then it'll all start working straight away. Sadly, this "if you build it, they will come" is not really a realistic expectation, although there is an understandable hope of truth in that. Belief is a great motivator, but in marketing, and especially in the world of marketing content, showing up once rarely ever makes any difference at all. Repetition and persistence are what pays off. For your marketing to show results, you need to show up 50 times. Now, creating 50 pieces of content might sound like a lot of work, and it is, but it is work that will grow you and your business. Putting out a regular stream of content that specifically targets your ideal audience is very good marketing. It's also an excellent self-development process that makes you better at running your business. Putting in that steady effort, even while your marketing is building momentum, is absolutely worth it. Now, I'll be blunt here, and one of the reasons I think marketing content is so effective is because it helps people who waffle get to the point. And for your audience, that's no bad thing. When you ask someone to explain a concept or a theory that underpins their work, they can often go off into a very complex and convoluted explanation. When you start making content, you realise that not a lot of people have time for that, and people often aren't inclined to read that much or watch videos that are that long and complicated. Regularly making and publishing content helps you explain things better and quicker to your client. After all, 50 times later, your writing, video production, podcast recording will have improved because you will have got better at articulating your ideas as you have to search around for new methods and illustrative examples. But it also builds your confidence in front of the camera or microphone, which makes it more likely you'll be invited to guest on someone else's podcast or appear on their channel. You might even be invited to lead a workshop or give a presentation, and all of these are potentially excellent marketing activities. Well, the first aim is to get that first bit of content done and then build on it. It's not a good idea to start by focusing on how much work the whole process is. Now, I started this video by saying that the first thing you make is the hardest, and it's true that going from 0 to 1 is a lot harder than going from 1 to 50 and beyond. So I'm not saying that I'm going to make this easy for you, but what I can do is help you reframe that first piece of content from being a mountain to climb to being the first step on a long and rewarding journey. And that's a much more positive perspective to take. Try not to focus too much on whether that first piece of content has worked or not. You might just get lost in the details and you might feel the ups or the downs of that engagement too deeply. Instead, try thinking of your content as being like creating the Netflix of you. In this way, a single piece of marketing content becomes less important because you're looking at your marketing process as creating a body of work, or a back catalogue if you like. Earlier, I alluded to people having short attention spans, and that is true, except when it comes to, for example, watching TV series. People will sit down for hours and hours watching episode after episode, so people do have plenty of attention for something they're interested in. Think of the last time that you went onto YouTube and ended up watching 5 or 6 videos back to back. So the aim of your marketing is simply to create 50 pieces of content that are of interest to your ideal client. In a way, you're creating and curating a platform full of different ways to engage in that Netflix of you. So not everything you make is going to be a smash hit. Some of it will be a flop and some of it is going to really take off. Now you might be thinking, okay, this sounds great, Simon, but I still feel uncomfortable talking about me. Now, a lot of people feel uncomfortable talking about themselves, their work, or even selling, and you're not alone. In fact, I recently did a whole other video about balancing selling and authenticity, which you can find right here. One idea that I find useful to remember is that when you're asking people to trust you to deliver on a promise, or you're asking them to commit to a process that requires effort, time and investment on their part, it really helps if they can get to know you before you ask them to do that. And to do that, you're going to need to build some trust. And that's what this 50 pieces of content are designed to do. When you show up consistently, generously, and share your ideas and explanations, people will get to know, like, and trust you. After all, people buy people. So getting started is difficult but worth it. So the first pieces of content you make might feel hard and uncomfortable, but those are just the first stages of building something bigger and more impressive. Focus on building trust over time rather than trying to make that content sell today. My advice is to stick with it, be consistent and just try and get 1% better every time. In what seems like no time at all, you'll have that Netflix of you and people will be binging on your content. What's more, putting yourself out there with this content is more than just good for business. It's a self-growth opportunity that you can use to try out new ideas. Most of all, you can have some fun and be yourself. If you want to find out more about how you can create content that will engage with your ideal client, there's lots of ideas in my book, Reframing Marketing, a 3-step plan for effective and ethical marketing. It's a step-by-step guide to creating a marketing plan and content that will bring you your ideal clients. You can order your copy directly from me at reframingmarketing.com. I'll see you in the next video.